Hello Magic fans, I'm Beef and welcome back to another standard gameplay video, and today we are taking a look at a very janky villains deck. Now, we've played villains before actually. I think, was it the first deck I played in through the Omenpath? Feature a lot of mayhem cards and usually they are villains, but I've purposely not gone with a lot of them before, a lot of the cards played before, just because I wanted to see the new one. So villains is a new creature type from Through the Omenpaths, and this is, I think, a problem I have with Universes Beyond. So obviously in Spider-Man you have heroes and villains. That makes perfect sense. Most of the heroes are spider heroes, and we have had spiders before. Villains, this is literally the first and only time we've seen villains. So while there's a small amount of support and synergy within the set itself, there's nothing else previously in Magic. And even with Bloomburrow, which introduced a lot of newly supported creature types like bat, birds, mice, lizards, frogs, we generally have received previous cards. In fact, usually a few sets before, because I think I did it on purpose. Things like Regal Bunnycorn for rabbits. Birds we saw, like Mockingbird. I think Mockingbird wasn't from Bloomburrow, but we did receive previous creature types, creatures that supported those creature types. Whereas obviously this is just villains, and they're in all colours, and this is why it's a bit janky. So let's just go through our villains. So we do have Goban, Gene Splicer. So one copy of this. We did play this in the Mayhem deck. 1 mana, 1/1, can't be blocked. Whenever Goban deals combat damage to a player, he connives, meaning we draw a card and then discard a card. If we discard a non-land card, we put a +1/+1 counter on Goban. Then we can either play him for 1+ blue, black, and red, or we can pay that same mana cost one. We've got Goban down and transform it into Fleam, Goban's creation, a 3/3 flying menace. Spells you cast from your graveyard cost 2 less to cast. Each non-land card in your graveyard has Mayhem. The Mayhem cost is equal to mana cost. Mayhem is a new mechanic, which means you can play a card for its Mayhem cost from your graveyard if you discarded it in that turn. Casting times still apply. Next up we have Vexbots, one of the few legendary villains, which is another issue about Universes Beyond. A 2 mana 1/1 flying. Whenever another villain you control enters, put a +1/+1 counter on this creature. This ability triggers only once each turn, so it can grow throughout the game. Then we have 3 copies of Nil, Vessel of Vangovoth, a 3 mana 2/2. When Nil enters, we return target villain card from our graveyard to our hand, and villain spells we cast cost 1 less to cast. So it's ramp and ways to get things back from the graveyard. Then we do have 1 copy of Taurian Mauler, not a villain, but it is a changeling, so it has all creature types. And then whenever an opponent casts a spell, we may put a +1/+1 counter on this creature. And because it's changing, it counts as a villain in our hand. Then we have 2 copies of Carlo, Suave, Schemer, a 3 mana 2/3 with Menace. Whenever another villain we control enters, Carlo connives. That is not once a turn, so this can grow quite big and get through our deck. Then we have Adaptive Automaton, seen this card loads of times before. 3 mana 2/2, as it enters, choose a creature type. This creature is a chosen type in addition to its other types, and other creatures we control of a chosen type get +1/+1. This does not count as a villain in our hand, so it does not get the reduction from nil. And then 2 copies of Patchwork Banner. When it enters, choose a creature type. Creatures we control of a chosen type get +1/+1, and we can tap to add 1 mana of any colour. Then we have the Watcher on the Road, a 4 mana 3/3. When it enters, create a 3/3 blue illusion villain creature token for each non-token villain we control, which is really, really powerful. However, we do have to exile those tokens when the Watcher on the Road leaves the battlefield. That is a bit of a bummer. So this will often come down and create 3 or 4 3/3s, but often going to be bigger due to buffs. But yeah, if the Watcher is removed, they all go bye-bye. Then we have Wrench, Speedway, Saboteur, a 5 mana 2/3. When it enters, look at the top 9 cards of target opponent's library. Exile 2 of them face down, then put a rest on the bottom with a live in random order. When we play those exile cards for as long as they remain exiled, and mana of any type can be spent to cast spells this way. So we don't lose that ability if Wrench goes away, or it's not, by the end of the turn, and the next turn we have those cards forever, and as long as they remain exiled, which they will, we can cast them. So, and also we can play them, so we can play lands as well if we need to hit a land drop. And then 2 copies of Neach, Pinnacle Pariah, a 7 mana 4/8. Other villains we control get +2/+2, and maximum hand size is 8. At the beginning of your end step, if you have fewer than 8 cards in hand, draw cards equal to the difference. That's pretty bonkers. And finally, we have Sakau, Predation's Shadow, a 7 mana 6/7 with Vigilance, Trample and Haste. But when he attacks, if we've cast a spell of mana value 4 or greater this turn, we draw a card. So Cal is mana value 4 or greater and a haste, so generally he attacks a turn, he comes down, and we draw a card. Now obviously here's the odd one out. Everything else is pretty much black-blue apart from the Taurian Mauler, but Sakal is green-red, but I wanted to play with him. But he is obviously quite hard to get down, even though we do have lots of ramp. Speaking of, we have 1 copy of Darkness Crystal, 4 mana legendary artifact. Black spells we cast cost 1 less to cast. Most of our spells are black. If a non-token creature an opponent controls would die, exile it instead, and we gain 2 life. This helps us get back into the long game, and we can pay 6 and tap it. Put a creature card exiled with Darkness Crystal onto the battlefield tapped, under our control of 2 additional +1/+1 counters on it. I put this in towards the end. You could quite easily, I did have an additional Patchwork banner in there, so you could swap those out again. And then we have 3 copies of Ghost Vacuum because graveyard decks are all the rage, whether it's Kavero the Mind Bitten, or I've seen some Abyssal Oculus, not Abyssal Oculus, Abhorrent Oculus, as well as Raise the Past, various other things. So this is in there to help, and obviously Darkness Crystal does also help with Graveyard because it exiles creatures when they die. And then removal, we have Bit of Triumph, Shoot the Sheriff, and then Strategic Betrayal to help the Graveyard as well. Mana base, we do have Secluded Courtyard, which we obviously name Villain, which means we can cast tap it for any mana. Same with Cavern of Souls. Exclusive Nightclub, we can sometimes Mayhem and get it back from the graveyard, return we discard it and lose 2 life. And then, yeah, we have 3 Undercity Sewers and then 4 Gloomlake Verges, a couple of Blazemar Verges. We don't have anything attached specifically for green for Sakal, but obviously Secluded Courtyard, Multiversal Passage, Cavern of Souls can all tap for green, or Multiversal Passage can come down as a forest if we need to cast Sakal. But with Patchwork Banner as well, it's not particularly difficult to cast him. So it's a really fun deck when it gets going. There needs to be more cheaper non-legendary villains because there just aren't that many. If we go type villain, and we will see, just make sure, I'm pretty sure I've got them all, but you never know. Legendary, non-legendary, but not great. Non-legendary, got that. Non-legendary, legendary, 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 non-legendary, 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 legendary. So you can see there are mostly legendary ones as well. Could have played Vigo, would have been quite interesting, but most of them are legendary, and no 1-drops really does hinder the deck as well. But yeah, it's a good fun deck when it gets going. It's not going to win any tournaments or be very good, but it is quite fun using the new creature type, even though I think the creature type, because it's brand new, doesn't have any support outside of through the Omenpath. So hope you enjoy it. If you do, please remember to like, subscribe. I'll give a shout out to my patrons. They are Arcadius, Mihal, Thomas and Adrian. Thank you very much for your support. Thank you everyone else for your support, and I'll see you all in the gameplay. Our opponent goes first. Well, we can Vex bots into an automaton. And hopefully we draw more useful things. And hopefully our things don't die, which I'm sure they will. Who knew a turn 2 was this tough? Well, let's get removal out of their hand. I mean, you've got it. You might as well use it. Maybe you don't have it, but there was definite sticks there. Unholy Annex. Unstoppable Slasher. Fail. Good old instant speed. Well, let us Patchwork Banner then on villain. Next turn we can Vex Bots and Adaptive Automaton, but they seem to have missed the land drop. What removal spell do you have now? Is this just going to be all removal? They took 3 as opposed to discarding, so they're not necessarily a graveyard deck. Ooh, black-red. Are we going to see 3 spells all removal? Oh, so they are. There are a Mayhem deck. Well, at least they have played out their hand. And we do have a couple of 4/4s. Obviously, we have another one. On villain. So that's Turian Mauler. And then Watcher on the road. We just need now. We have 7 mana, so we can cast everything in our deck. Neach would be good. We do lose all of our goodies. Yes, we take 7. Can we find some of our top end things? No, we can't. Sad. Well, that's a villain. Could knife trick. We get 2, don't we? Yeah. Let's get a fell and a knife trick. And I think we fell you. And we'll hold back. Mauler's getting chunky. We can knife trick something. Knife Trick is a sorcery. Let's pay 2. Let's kill you. And let's attack in, see how they block. But they have to double block. Obviously, we do have to pay 3, which is not ideal. And her opponent scoops. We never found a Neach or a Sakao. Oh. We've got a pretty good curve. Let's go big. Let's keep him. Next time we can get the banner down. On villain again. Market Gnome generally means there's something like Duskrow's Casket. Oh, we need Ghost Vacuum. I might just take the Soul Guide Lantern. Soul Guide Lantern, definitely. And they have a lot of weird tap plans. I don't have a way to sacrifice the tokens. Let's just take a jank land. But there's nothing in there that screamed graveyard. Do you have a helping hand? Why did I take out my Withering Torment? Well, we don't actually have any black cards in hand. Yeah, I get a draw. If we draw an untapped land, we can Sakao. Otherwise, it's Vexbots and Taurian Mauler. Duskrow's Reliquary. Oh no, another Market Gnome. Untap land. Yes. We've finally been able to see it. Right. You can go there. You two go face. They are down to 5. They need... Why didn't they go face with that? It sucks a 1 mana artifact can remove everything. Oh, and a razor pass. Fantastic. Do you have another reliquary? Yeah, even though you've got to sacrifice an artifact, it is absolutely ridiculous. We do go first. We don't know if we need it or not. Well, we will play this on... Ooh, black. Let's get out of vexing bots. Well, let's get this on blue. Get down a Carlo, grow our vex bots. We now have plenty of removal. Removal, we are 100% going to use. But on their turn, play out your fetch lands, don't have any protection spells. You are not an outlaw, either of you. Ooh, go on. Fight, fight, fight. Oops. It's probably a waste killing Fenrir. Will come down as a villain. We can ditch the Carlo. And we can still hold up Bitter Triumph. They're down to 6. Probably makes more sense to kill whatever it is they cast that has the counter on it. If I have another Mossborn Hydra. Or do you have another Bushwhack can only kill the automaton. And then you got to hope that we don't have a removal, which we do, and we've got to hope they don't have a protection spell, which they might. For 3/3 Solemn Sinister Simulacrum, I am not that bothered about. I think we've just got lethal anyway. They need to double block the Carlo. We'll pay 3 life. Which they can't do. And then we play the Patchwork Banner. We're hitting in 5 in the air, 5 and 3, 8 on the ground. Well, we go first with villains. I think we play out a Vex bots. maybe. That turn 1 play is always the hardest. Always the one that makes you think, what do I do with my 1 land? I'm surprised they managed to do that quite quickly when it came down to it. I would love a 3rd land myself. Brawl, it doesn't look like the standard landfall deck, because you don't really play Brawl for that. Dinosaurs? Oh, there is a land. On villain. The next turn we can Patchwork Banner and get Goban down. Which will grow our Vex bots into a 4/4. But obviously red-green, they might have... artifact removal. Ooh, white. Ooh. I'm going to keep Neach, so I think we can play him. We'll transform you, get back a Vexing bot. What do they have for at least 6? I just want to get a Neach down. Or as a cow, that'd be nice. We haven't got land Ugin or... They also have a very full hand, and we're going to have a very full hand next turn. So they are just straight up dinosaurs. If they attack with the Raptor, we are 100% jumping. Well, not jumping, trading. Unless they have a spell. Obviously, we do have lethal in the air. Oh, they've got a fight spell. We still, I think, have lethal in the air. Do you have another bushwhack? I mean, I think this is the fun play. Do you have an instant speed fight spell? Oh no, and a braid. But that's still lethal. Why didn't you let us draw 6 cards? Right, we go first. With a very slow hand, unfortunately, but... Oh, graveyard deck, fun. Oculus. That's on villain. Next turn we can wrench. Well, there's a Neach. What was that stick for? So there's a lot of return things in what we found. Maybe we just get blockers. Let's get Dreams of Laguna and land. So do they have? There are a lot of reanimation spells in their top 9. I think there were 3. There's the Scholar. Next turn we can Undercity Sewers. Maybe Dreams of Laguna. Depends what we draw. Ooh, another wrench. Well, let's see what they do. Three, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, we're keeping that. Because then Neach, we can cast Neach next turn. Buffing our board, drawing us a lot of cards. There's an Inti. Obviously, if I remove Watcher, that's fine. I say fine. It's kind of annoying, but there's another Oculus. Oh, there's a Return Triumphant. And our opponent scoops.